Today on the Topping Show, Trump Kamala post-debate fact check goes viral. Black Rifle coffee stock continues to tank while the founder sells $9.5 million worth of his shares. Walz calls Kamala's early career a young prostitutor, a little Freudian slip. James Charles, a popular activist, reacted to the Trump-Kamala debate going really viral. A family in Irondequoit slain by illegal. Verizon to lay off nearly 5,000 employees and pay about $2 billion in severance. And Big Lots goes bankrupt and will be subsequently sold to private equity. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. I gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you could reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Black Rifle Coffee founder selling about $9.5 million worth of shares as the stock continues to tank, which I don't think many people will be too surprised since, again, luxury coffee is probably the easiest thing to cut from your budget when you have unprecedented economical and political uncertainty and layoffs left and right. Some of those things where Black Rifle Coffee, you don't need it. I know many people these days don't realize the differences between a want and a need, but again, it's very much a luxury item that you don't need to survive. Now, since their IPO, it's crashed, and again, none of this is financial advice, but this lost about 80% of their value. I mean, let's get into the specifics really quick. Just going to the little stock ticker. Great, by the time this video is rendered and uploaded, it'll change because the stock market does what the stock market does, but it's currently trading for $3.31 per share. Juxtapose that with Starbucks, it's about $100 per share. Also, apples to oranges, because again, Starbucks, there's more locations than grains of sand in the desert, some might say. They're trying to compete with them. We'll see if they can. Now, here's a little stock chart there. Their IPO, what was it, 14? No, they IPO'd at $16.28 per share. And in 2022, it looks like their peak stock value was $29.45 per share. A little bit generous. $30 per share. Now about $3.31 per share. It is now cheaper to buy a single share of Black Rifle Coffee stock than an actual coffee, which is saying something. Not financial advice. Again, that is astronomical. I mean, the past year, they're down about 20%. Year to date, down 22%. 1 month, down 13%. Last week, down, 13.35%. Now, granted, the 52-week low is $2.51 per share. So granted, it's not the worst it's ever been, but not really doing great. Now, going to their quick fiscal results, let's say they peaked in December 2023, revenue of $119.65 million, net income negative $4.49 million. Then you start to say the revenue decreased. March 2024, again, this is quarterly, revenue went down to $98.39 million. Revenue, this is the first time they made a profit, and only time right now, $548,000, which is a lot of money for an individual, even a couple of people, but when you have hundreds of employees, that's not great. And then in June 2024, so again, their fiscal Q2, the revenue crashed again to $89 million and a negative income of negative $482,000. So again, their revenue is going down and the profits are getting slightly worse. Now, all this being said, maybe we'll find this as a scheduled stock sale, and it shouldn't decrease your faith in company. Maybe we'll dive on in. That's brought to us thanks to investing.com, which A+ for marketing, you know exactly what they're about. Basic quote: Evan Hafer of Black Rifle Coffee Inc. sells shares worth over $9.5 million. Quite a few to say the least. Looks like there's no fun pictures, so I'll just go ahead and leave that stock ticker up there. Which, yeah, that decrease is not looking good. Now, apologies about that. Now, they say, quote, oops. So ineffective, but they still somehow exist. Say, quote, Evan Hafer, a key figure at Black Rifle Coffee, a company known for its beverages, has recently made significant transactions involving the company's stock. On September 11th, 2024, Hafer, who is both the director and 10% owner of the company, engaged in the sale of Class A common stock that resulted in proceeds of over $9.5 million. The shares are being sold at prices ranging from $3.17 per share to $3.41 per share, with the weighted average price being $3.19 per share. These transactions involved a total of 3 million shares being sold. They say it's noteworthy that the Class A shares sold by Hafer reduced his direct ownership to the company to 0. Wow. So, is he about to go bye-bye? Because again, the company, it was growing in revenue, but now the revenue is decreasing quarter over quarter, and the profits are dwindling. Let's continue. It's quote, in a related transaction, Hafer through EKNRH Holdings LLC exchanged 3 million common stocks of Authentic Brands LLC for an equivalent number of Black Rifle Coffee Inc.'s Class A common stock, simultaneously forfeiting an equivalent number of Class B common stock. Class B shares do not provide economic rights within Black Rifle Coffee, but do grant voting rights. The exchange did not involve any economic transaction and was thus valued at $0. Interesting. They say these transactions are part of Hafer's broader ownership management and were properly disclosed according to SEC regulations. The details of the block sale and the exchange of securities suggest a strategic adjustment in Hafer's holdings within the company. Investors and followers of Black Rifle Coffee will likely keep an eye on these developments, as executive transactions can indicate a company's internal dynamics and future direction. Hafer's role as both a significant shareholder and director places his trading activities in the spotlight for market watchers and shareholders alike. In recent news, Black Rifle Coffee reported a mix of achievements and challenges in their second quarter 2024 fiscal results. Company sales growth declined 3.2%, deviating from the anticipated 9.5% increase, which, or as of right now, they do not have alcohol in Black Rifle Coffee products. I can't but think, were they inebriated by some other beverage when they're saying they're going to grow by 9.5%? Again, they have a good cause. They do help veterans. I know they're also losing a lot of fans because they're past politics and stances on cultural issues. But again, it is a luxury product, and darn near everyone I know, anecdotally speaking, they're trying to cut their budget just to stay afloat in this economy. So they're not going out and they're buying the Black Rifle Coffee or going to the Black Rifle Coffee brick and mortar stores. They say, quote, in response to these developments, Citi revised Black Rifle Coffee's price target to $4.35 per share, remaining a neutral rating on the shares. Similarly, Roth MKM adjusted its outlooks to the company, downgrading the stock from a buy to neutral and reducing the price target from $8 to $4. Looks like in most financial institutions, well, oh my gosh, the market cap is down to $691.77 million. Ouch. So not great news for Black Rifle Coffee. And again, more interesting anecdotal experience. I always make sure I have a fridge stocked with a myriad of products or beverages, even if I don't personally drink them, just for podcast interviewees. And interestingly enough, the most popular beverage, bar none, for interviews has been Dr. Pepper. It's probably been, I need to check the expiration dates on the cans. It's probably been 4 to 5 months since anyone has wanted a Black Rifle Coffee. Now, the ones I have in the fridge are the espressos and the macchiatos and stuff I can't pronounce in the little cans. But yeah, every time I talk to people, and yeah, this is an anecdotal experience, but the number one reason they moved away from Black Rifle Coffee the past couple of years because of the Black Rifle's coffee stance and controversial stance comes to not, quote unquote, not backing Kyle Rittenhouse, when Kyle Rittenhouse was, the media was framing him to be an evil white supremacist, when in fact the court did prove that he shot in self-defense, thereby taking the life, many would argue, in a good way, in terms of, yeah, people that happened to attack Kyle Rittenhouse were a child abuser and a woman beater. And yeah, he shot in self-defense, and the court proved he was innocent, but he happened to have a Black Rifle Coffee on in some picture, and Black Rifle Coffee went out and not only apparently said, oh yeah, he in no way, he's not affiliated with our company at all. They also roasted, well, they say roasted, pun intended, their coffee company, but they also roasted a lot of the fans and supporters of Kyle Rittenhouse, thereby alienating more of the prospective clients, as well as a big percentage of what used to be the current customer base. Now, on the shelves when I go to stores, I do see Black Rifle Coffee more and more. They want it. Can't mention how much that Walmart contract is worth. Get shelf space at Walmart takes entrepreneurs years. It's something they yearn and they dream about. Granted, the profits aren't the best, but you get the huge volume of sales. So I've noticed they have more products at the Walmart when I go shop there. But again, anecdotally speaking, fewer people. Let's see. Click the subscribe button for me. I have a theory when I first started the show. Barely anyone tuned in, and yet I spoke even worse than I do today, believe it or not. But as I slowly but surely gain subscribers, I've been more and more articulate, fueling my theory that the more people that subscribe and click that free button, the better I will speak, and someday make it through a whole episode completely speaking fluently. Tall orders, tall goals, some might say, but you have to wish for something. Now, getting back to Black Rifle Coffee, I just anecdotally have not seen a lot of that product being moved and a lot of people consuming it, and they lost a lot of the big competitive advantage with that botched PR thing. And that was a couple of years ago. It's still kneecapping them. It's oddly reminiscent of the Bud Light fiasco, the Bud Light business blunder of the decade, with them alienating a core part of their clients. And I really struggle to see how Black Rifle Coffee is going to be doing good this year of all years. But again, I've said it for the umpteenth time, it's a luxury product. And again, they do donate a lot to veterans, and they hire a lot of veterans. So I do think the company does some great things. But do you know, let me know in the comments, do you think they've fallen too far? Do you think there's no way they could turn around that trajectory? And then, anecdotally speaking, do you buy Black Rifle Coffee? Do you appreciate the product? There's also a lot of upstarts and competitors in that industry as well. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Even if I do admit, I apologize, work's been a little bit busy lately. It does take me a couple days to get back to you. So again, appreciate your patience and would love to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Verizon to lay off nearly 5,000 employees and pay up to $1.9 billion in severances, which is quite a pretty penny and pretty, again, one of those bittersweet moments in your employee. Happened to a lot of my colleagues when they used to work at Hewlett Packard Enterprise, is one of those things where a lot of them would always joke in terms of you don't get fired, but you do get paid to leave more often than not when you're in your tenure at the company. Some of them, it's almost like they're wishing it. We used to call it almost like a perverse HPE lottery. When you get up there in age, they just pay you a lot of money just to leave. Now, interesting enough, this comes to us thanks to a website by the name of Bazinga. And actually, so we pull it up here. Anu Hashua is the writer over there. They say, quote, Verizon to record up to $1.9 billion in costs for layoffs, asset sales in Q3. Now, they say, quote, Verizon to book 1.7 to 1.9 billion severance charges in Q3 2024. Over half of the 4,800 layoffs expected to exit in September. Now, this is coming right after they just bought Frontier for about $20 billion in cash. Well, I'm pretty sure that SEC, most likely the government's going to sign off on that, and it's not being a huge monopolistic action since there are a couple large ISPs or internet service providers. Now, they say, quote, in June 2024, Verizon shared plans to downsize 4,800 employees by the end of March 2025. Over half of these employees will be exiting 2024. September, Verizon plans to discontinue certain real estate assets and exit non-strategic portions of certain businesses, leading to asset and business rationalization charges of $230 million and $380 million in the third quarter 2024. In July, Verizon reported a top-line growth of 0.6%, which is not a big percentage, but dollar amount, that's increased to $32.8 billion. Now, they did miss the consensus estimates of $33.1 billion. The company ended the quarter with 11.5 million broadband subscribers, up 17.2%. Postpaid phone net additions were 148,000, beating consensus estimates of 118,000. They also said, oh yeah, I was right, they're going to buy Frontier for $20 billion to boost their fiber and wireless services. Again, finance is always 2020, especially stocks. That's why I don't give financial advice on the show. It looks like the stock's up 28% in the past 12 months, which, yeah, I didn't see that coming considering, again, they do have competition. And, I mean, T-Mobile and AT&T have a big market share. I don't know. And again, anecdotal evidence, a lot of the smaller ones like Mint Mobile, which, again, that was subsequently bought by Sprint, which is subsequently bought by T-Mobile, well, they've been chewing up a lot of the entry-level market share, entry-level prospective clients when it comes to that types of folks. So, interesting enough, it looks like Verizon's, I mean, that's going to cost them, that's a pretty penny to pay employees to leave. But again, long term, it's going to save a lot of money. And many of these instances, many of these roles are being automated and outsourced, thereby decreasing the demand for the business to keep those core roles there, or what used to be core roles. Now, hopefully, they're able to find gainful employment at a competitor and be able to retool their skill sets. No one's out of work too long. But surprisingly enough, the Verizon stock is doing pretty good these days. Will they keep that trajectory up for the rest of the year? I don't know. I'm pretty skeptical, but let me know in the comments because, as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Big Lots declaring bankruptcy and sold to Nexus Capital Management. This comes to us thanks to Kate Gibson over at CBS News, in which she says, quote, Big Lots declares bankruptcy and agrees to be bought by private equity firm. When they say, quote, Big Lots said that it filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy for protection from its debts, with the discount retailer citing inflation and high interest rates for hurting its business. The Columbus-based Ohio company said it intends to sell its assets and what remains of its business to private equity firm Nexus Capital Management. Bankruptcy comes after a month after the company said they will close 315 stores nationwide, which additional close more stores. We have Bruce Thorne, who's the retailer's president and CEO, saying, quote, though the majority of our store locations were profitable, we intend to move forward with a more focused footprint. Now, they say the retailers' core customers have cut their discretionary spending on home and seasonal products, which makes up for a large portion of Big Lots revenue, as the company noted, which, yep, yet another thing you can cut easily from your 2024 budget as something that's 110% unnecessary and a luxury. Yeah, no one needs seasonal products or at all. Yeah, because of no one needs that. Especially when it comes to furniture, just make your own furniture last longer, or just build your own, like I did. Now, they say, quote, bankruptcy is inevitable for the chain, which posted 16 consecutive quarters of comparable sales declines, according to Neil Sanders, who's the managing director of Global Data. While he rejected the notion that the retailer's troubles are entirely due to the changing economic backdrop. He says, quote, Big Lots is not always good value for the money. Many of the items it sells are not high-end and are not drastically expensive, but equivalents also can be found cheaper at stores, including Walmart, which, yeah, that's a big 500-pound gorilla in the room, or his 500-pound Razorback, whatever that funny little mascot is, pig, whatever it is. Hog. Kidding, I got friends from Arkansas, but nevertheless, they say, quote, another issue plaguing Big Lots is, quote, very jumbled and muddled product mix, which puts off customers and hurts the shopping experience. But bankruptcy will give the retailer a chance to restructure his $573 million in long-term debt and increasing interest payments. Looks like Big Lots has secured commitments for $707.7 million of financing, including $35 million in new funding from its current lenders. If approved by the court, financing is expected to provide sufficient liquidity to support the company while it works to complete sale to Nexus Capital, which, for better or worse, we've heard horror stories, and we've heard a couple of good stories in terms of companies being bought by private equity and increasing or decreasing in value. I mean, probably one of the best use cases of it helping would be something like Chuck E. Cheese, which was, I believe, there's Apollo Management a couple of years ago bought them when they went bankrupt, and they've increased their number of locations and quality of service across the United States and even going internationally. Well, partially because they have a new CEO who's helping really turn the company around as well. But yeah, there are a couple instances where it's paid off in the good, but then you also have instances like, I kind of think Toys R Us, which again kind of screws them. They got brought out by private equity and did some bad loans, and fortunately they just kind of milked them for all this worth. And subsequently, Toys R Us is basically a shell of what it used to be, with the name still being around and licensed to a couple, boutique stores and crammed inside airports, and I think once inside a Gap or some. It's a small store within a store. It's kind of heartbreaking what has become of the good old Toys R Us. And I don't know, with Big Lots, I never thought of a compelling reason to shop there personally. I mean, I know I've had friends go there throughout the years, but I mean, really, let me know in the comments, what's the compelling reason to go to Big Lots as opposed to just, while you're at Walmart buying your food, why not just buy something there? Or why not just make your stuff last longer, just, build it yourself? Look, let me know in the comments, when's the last time you actually went to a Big Lots? Do you think they'll be able to successfully emerge from bankruptcy with this new ownership to guide them? Or do you think they'll just milk it for all it's worth and it'll be gone completely in the next, couple fiscal quarters? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Going over to the cultural part of the podcast, you have an Irondequoit family of 4 slain by illegals going viral. And apologies if I am using a mispronunciation of the actual town. Now, this comes to us thanks to the good old libs of TikTok on the good old X Twitter, in which she says, quote, Irondequoit Police Chief Scott Peters described the horrifying scene of the slain family of 4 who were murdered in their home by an illegal from the Dominican Republic. He says, quote, this is a horrific scene. In 32 years of doing my job, I haven't seen anything like it. Now, this is a little over 2 minutes, but their voices are infinitely better than mine. Without too much further ado.
Irondequoit Police Chief Scott Peters emotional at today's press conference as we got a first real update from Saturday's scene that we now know resulted in the death of a family at their home on Knapp Avenue. A crime scene unlike any other for Irondequoit Police Chief Scott Peters.
This was a horrific scene. In almost 32 years of doing this job, I've never seen anything like it.
Shock and horror from the Irondequoit community, a family of 4 victims of a homicide in their own home.
This is Labor Day, it's supposed to be a joyous day, spending time off with your family. This family doesn't have that anymore. This family is forever going to be, half their family's gone in an instant.
Irondequoit police providing an update on the investigation and naming the 4 family members killed. 30-year-old Fraime Ubaldo, 26-year-old Morangeli Moreno Santiago, 4-year-old Evangeline Ubaldo Moreno, and 2-year-old Sebastian Ubaldo Moreno killed early Saturday morning. Chief Peters saying these actions are inexplicable.
Adults do what adults do, but kids are innocent. So take that for what it's worth. There's Mom was being a mom, protecting her children. Dad, I can't say, but nobody should ever be able to do this or be able to think that they could do that to a child.
The chief saying that his department is dealing with a lot at the moment between the investigation and trying to keep a community together, and says those responsible will be caught.
We wanted to make sure that we went floor to floor and didn't miss any piece of information that needed to be collected to ultimately bring these monsters to justice.
Hopefully they are, but again, I'm not too optimistic. We've seen multiple times where people are deported after something like this and they just come back. And that's horrific. That's happened more than once. Now, what pretty valid got about 725,000 views as well as 7.5 thousand likes. The first comments coming from Cash Loren saying, quote, Kamala Harris will let tens of millions of more illegals in if we are elected, gave 114 likes. Heather Eagleman says, quote, this shit could be prevented with a closed border and deportation, getting 643 likes. Whoa, 644 likes going up right before our eyes, which, yeah, the borders are failed America, but I think pretty sure she's doing well in terms of kind of her goals and actions. Now, Cash Loren also says, quote, horrifying, completely preventable if Kamala Harris secured our border, getting 40 likes, which, yeah, when you have people coming in, you have no idea where they're from or their intentions or their backgrounds. Yeah, bad people tend to come in there. You also have Remanity saying, quote, thank you, our current border czar. And that's picture Kamala says, United States border czar, 2021 to present, getting 139 likes. Old School Eddie says, quote, our strategy could have been avoided by securing our borders and enforcing our immigration laws, but Biden Harris chose to ignore both, which was criminal, and 185 likes. We also have Salty Goat saying, quote, that's what happens when you have Harris as the border czar and she floods the country with criminal illegals, getting 200 likes. I don't see if there's any contrarian statements thus far. I'm not seeing any. Mike Ray says this will never end as long as Kamala is in charge. The blood of these people are on her hands, getting 99 likes. And someone has thrashed potatoes says get ready for a whole lot more if this clown wins. And it's Kamala in a AI picture, but her dancing in a yellow suit in front of a bus says effing retarded. A Netflix original, getting 48 likes. Also have Kaiser's Zeus says women don't care. It's not happening directly to them. They won't care. They just want abortions, nothing more. They're voting for Kamala no matter how many families die. And 60 likes. And yeah, that is a key factor, a key issue that a lot of people are voting on this year. Even though for the umpteenth time, abortion should have nothing to do with the upcoming election, because again, it's a states' rights issue. So if you want to make changes, go to Hobby Lobby, get some nice card stock, and you make a little poster board, and peacefully let your opinion be known on what you want to happen. Pure lies and manipulation for them to raise campaign funds, saying that, oh yeah, Kamala's going to do something to protect your abortion. When again, well, firstly, what has she been doing for the past 3.5 years? And yes, the Supreme Court is not going to change that anytime soon unless they pack the Supreme Court and break the laws, which, given the trajectory, who knows what will happen today in regard to that topic. Let's see. Going down more and more. Still haven't found a single contrarian comment. 50 Shades of Green says, horrific. I'm praying for the family. This should not have happened in our country. Getting 5 likes, which it shouldn't, but yeah, our country's going. The cultural decay is becoming more and more throughout the United States, with more and more crime spreading rampantly. And this is also reason 1,958,735,422 to not trust the government to protect you or your family. That is not just your right, it is your duty if you're head of a family household. Because, again, I don't know, especially these days, you gotta be able to defend yourself legally, depending on where you live. That's, your call or that may or may not be your call. If you're in New Jersey, you have a right to retreat, so you're forced to be a victim in that case. But in most free and loving states, you are allowed to just stand your ground and defend yourself and your family. And yeah, it's horrifying to see these instances happening more and more. I truly hope someone actually, secures the border. I mean, really hasn't happened in our lifetime, but let me know if you think anything will change, if all these anecdotal, it's heartbreaking, but these stories are adding up. And granted, well, we'll see how much of an impact it has in the upcoming election, but let me know if these stories if you think they really move people, or do you think people are really just going to, not care about the border at all? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, someone by the name of James Charles, an activist, goes viral as he reacts to the Trump Kamala debate, and this individual apparently has 40 million followers, is an activist in the LGBT community. Now this comes to us thanks to the good old libs of TikTok, in which she says, quote, James Charles, an LGBTQ activist with nearly 40 million followers, mocks Trump appearances during debate and suggests he hopes he gets sick, which, yeah, funny how there's one side of the political aisle, like in terms of the violence, rhetoric, and the cultural opinions, one side wants their opponent to die and they actually cheer the assassination's attempt. And the other side, when Biden was running, says, well, he's a nice old man. He's probably at home, with his family or in a retirement community during the last years of his life. The frequency of people actually calling for violence is not even a fraction in comparison. So it is interesting. And this person looks, about how you guess, very feminine. Of course, not wearing a suit as all men should, but wearing a rudimentary sweater. Let's see. It's about 47 seconds long, mostly unbearable, but go ahead and I'll play it.
Who did Donald?
Oh, come on now. There we go.
Who did Donald Trump's makeup for this debate? Oh my God, me in 2016? What is this foundation color match and who is the makeup artist responsible? This is crazy. I know that I've had some very embarrassing foundation moments online before, but this puts Flash McBerry to fucking shame, girl. What is going on? This man has bright pink undertones and they have literally slapped on a golden bright yellow foundation. What is this? You can literally tell where they just stopped blending it in between his fucking eyebrows, in his ears, right around his fucking cheeks, and around his mouth. This looks crazy! It literally looks like he just stepped out of a fucking Simpsons episode. Bitch, he's a guest starring in the Lego movie. It's giving liver failure jaundice. Is he okay? God, I fucking hope not.
Funny how these people can never actually, talk the policies. Well, granted, Kamala keeps changing hers. Hard to defend that when it flip-flops so often. And that short little clip went viral. Got 1.6 million views, as well as 8.6 thousand likes. Which, that's quite a few to say the least. And, yeah, I don't know about that camera angle. Just makes these people look insane. They just have the camera, go back and forward like an inch, 50 times in a second. Almost like they're having a seizure while holding it. Now, one of the first comments coming from American Papa Bear said, quote, 40 million? Are you serious? This makes me lose faith in humanity. Okay, 1.6 thousand likes. You also have Mr. Bigglesworth's memes saying these people have mental illness. And it looks like this picture of Grandpa from The Simpsons with his old buddies. But the Grandpa's has rainbow hair and lipstick and says, dudes in 50 years be like, so I cuffed my wiener, which was the style at the time. Okay, 1,000 likes. Arthur Eagleman says, quote, this dude is weird, getting 2.2 thousand likes. Mr. Bigglesworth Memes also says what I think of him, and is it Skeletor? Probably the best. That's probably the best advertising in terms of you'll never forget that name, in terms of a cartoon character. So it's the Skeletor wiping his rear with the LGBT flag. They got 538 likes. Paul Zupa says, quote, attacking Trump's appearance does nothing to win voters over, getting 448 likes. Wow, this one went really viral. Molly Pitcher says, embrace tradition. And structure of the mental institution from The Simpsons that says where woke used to live before the 70s, getting 2.4 thousand likes. But granted, I do think the percentage of frequency of mental illness has dramatically increased in the United States. Probably social media is not helping that. And again, she got 2.4 thousand likes for that. Some young broke dude says, quote, this is James, and it says, it's like an article from 2023 saying, quote, beauty cover boy, James Charles speaks up for the first time since his 2021 grooming allegations. And he gets an article admits he wanted to kill himself. And he looks, yeah. I got 1.8 thousand likes. Dell says, James Charles has a history of messaging young boys on social media privately and being accused of being a predator. He needs to have several football stadium seats. That might be a pop culture reference I don't get. He needs to have several football stadium seats? No idea what that means. Let me know in the comments. I got 3.4 thousand likes, though. Jeez Louise. Three-sided story says, how does this lunatic have 40 million subscribers? It's a screenshot of him looking crazy. Getting 494 likes. Well, can't help but think maybe social media wants to push mental illness on everyone. Wouldn't be the craziest thing. Again, there's also his rant on TikTok, which I can't help but think is just Chinese malware and a social experiment to destroy us, but I should digress. Bow-tied Queen Bee says, I don't like him either. And it's Homer Simpson pointing to a picture, says, just because your lifestyle is disgusting doesn't mean I'm afraid of you. Getting 288 likes. Eve says, poster child to the left is a screenshot of him screaming, getting 409 likes. Here we go. There's a Pew research from 2020 says, has your doctor or healthcare provider ever told you that you have a mental health condition? It shows conservatives, men, we just dramatically decrease 18 to 29, and the rate goes down, down, down. Women, conservative, peaks around 30, then drops down dramatically. Moderates, women spike up in their 30s. Men usually go down all the way. And then liberals, you have women spiking 18 to 29, then they do go down. And the men, it looks like the rate is triple for liberals. I got 517 likes. Natalia Soria says, why do they all talk like that? It's, what is it? Picard? From Star Wars? Or that Pikachu? I'm kidding, I know, some pop culture. It's, Patrick? No. Is it? Not Patrick Star. Kidding. But it's a Star Trek and goes, oh, you're gay? Who gives a crap? Just be gay and shut up. Getting 996 likes. Patriot US says, these people are influencing our youth. Getting 473 likes. You got another reason, I think we're up to 2 billion by now, well, there's really no legitimate reason to have a child with a device connected to the internet these days. Randy the Savage says, didn't this guy get canceled and his products pulled out of all the stores after he exposed as being a groomer? Getting 944 likes. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. And yeah, he's still the most viral things on social media. 40 million followers. Despite all of that, his background, apparently. So, yeah. Went pretty viral. Again, not really a good way to try to, disprove Trump or go against him in terms of, getting people to switch sides. And you're not really giving people a lot of compelling reasons to switch over from Trump by just saying he looks funny. Because let's be honest, most politicians don't look great. I don't think that's good barometer for voting for anyone, to be quite frank as well. But let me know in the comments, do you think these types of viral explosions actually help Trump, or do they actually more help Kamala? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Trump versus Kamala fact-checking going viral because, well, ABC didn't do any of it during the actual debate. So everyone followed up with juxtapositions of what Kamala was saying at the debate versus her entire track record. And nice way of saying this. What's more interesting way of saying this? She flip-flops. She has more flip-flops than J.C. Penney. I don't know if those stores are really open though. I don't know how many flip-flops they have left in stock. But the attempt at a joke was certainly made. This comes to us thanks to Lives at TikTok. She says, quote, hi BC and David Moore, did you see this? About minute 44, but good compilation of her just flipping and the flopping in. And remember, she says her morals have not changed at all.
Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away, so stop with the continuous lying about this stuff.
I support buybacks.
How mandatory is your gun buyback program?
It's mandatory.
I will not ban fracking.
When they say mandatory gun buybacks, that's a forced confiscation. Because again, the penalty is if you don't allow the government to buy your property back, well, then they take your life or imprison you. So it is gun confiscation, just with a different name, just like how they call everything healthcare when it's really not healthcare. And again, she said, again, this shows how much of a leftist she is. Even Joe Biden, during the 2020 nominee, he didn't go this far to say he's going to confiscate guns. During the 2020 nominee, is an instance where Kamala was saying if Congress, quote unquote, didn't act within the first 100 days, she passed an executive order for gun confiscation. Biden, during that primary, he said, well, you can't do that. You actually need support. And you also you cannot steal people's property without due process. And also, the latest Supreme Court ruling, or great precedent that has been set, you cannot gun bans that are in common use. And with well over 50% of all rifles sold in the United States being of the AR-15 pattern variant, that is quite literally the definition of common usage. So she keeps saying she wants to ban AR-15s or ban black rifles. Yeah, I don't see that holding any legal standing. You might get her some votes and anti-gunners will donate more to her, perhaps. But yeah, in terms of actual legal standing, and then that'd be a huge momentous task in terms of trying to enforce that, even coordinating with local police who, heaven forbid, they take the side of tyrants. They actually go door to door and try to take people's guns away. But yeah, just to extrapolate on that specific point.
Fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States, and in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases.
Yeah, I would not brag about the Inflation Reduction Act. That's how bad the debate was. She thought that was points to brag on. Like pretty much all political bills, it had the antithesis or the opposite effect of what it was called. It caused record high inflation, mostly giving handouts to quote-unquote green energy, which is not green fiscally. Well, not even long-term environmentally, but it does sound green, and people think short-term. Yeah, it's green.
Is for fracking.
Will you commit to implementing a federal ban on fracking your first day in office, adding the United States to the list of countries who have banned this devastating practice?
There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
I absolutely support and over the
So I got a lot of these second clips are from clips of her in 2019.
last 4 years as Vice President, private healthcare options.
You support the Medicare for All bill, I think initially co-sponsored by Senator Bernie Sanders. You're also a co-sponsor on it. I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Well, listen, the idea is that everyone gets access to medical care, and you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company, having them give you approval, going through the paperwork, all of the delay that may require. Who of us has not had that situation where you got to wait for approval and the doctor says, well, I don't know if your insurance company is going to cover this? Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
The United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime trying to do their jobs.
And I think
Yeah. Again, that bill, I keep going to tell people, yeah, Republicans, they didn't vote for this. Well, yeah, because it wasn't really for the southern border the way that people want it to be for the border. It's going to be used for the southern border for processing, not actually stopping the flow of illegal immigration. Also, the biggest line item in terms of monetary, the money from the bill, was going to protect the border in the Ukraine, which, even, I was about to say, even public schools in the United States, even the test scores aren't even, they're not so low that students would say Ukraine is a border to us. I'd hope not. I know there's that 32-year low ACT test scores, but I mean, even they know Ukraine is way the heck across the globe, and it has really any strategic or fiscal, business partnerships with us or advantages to protect, again, $200 billion for them, not even $12 billion to protect our border. But I partially digress.
there's no question that we've got to critically re-examine ICE and its role and the way that it is being administered and the work.
Yeah. And of course, the ABC did no fact checking in the real time and was the biggest hack job I think we've ever seen. And again, there are a lot of allegations. We'll see if it's actually true in terms of ABC giving her the questions prior to the debate. A lot of people saying she was, coached to have the right answers to, or quote unquote, better answers than she would normally have in the street, which would also explain how every time someone walks up to her and asks her any question above the intellect of, do you like Venn diagrams, she kind of sputters and it doesn't have much of a rebuttal or an intellectual response. And those are not as well as I thought it went, but it's like about 250,000 views. Looks like Charlie Kirk originally posted it. That got 766,000 views. With first comments coming from Alan Ruggs saying, quote, New York Times be like, fact check, Trump said Kamala wants to take people's guns away. This claim needs more context. Context, Kamala, quote, she said she wants to take some guns away. Getting 589 likes. Old School Eddie says ABC knows all this. They chose to lie about it. Getting 367. Let's make it 368 likes. Gideon says, I guarantee she does not own a gun. He should have asked her with the brand and model right away. Getting 65 likes. Oh, yeah, I would have. Again, they're not against their bodyguards or their security details having massive, firepower. You just can't defend yourself. You have to be armless and defenseless, which is mentally vacuous and morally disgusting. Got no belief. And yeah, I mentioned Joe Rogan or someone with a modicum of intellect was actually doing the debate and wasn't a hack, just complete bias trash. Because again, if they said that, I would love to quiz them. Oh, great. What kind of gun do you have? It would also force her to say, well, is it an AR-15? Is it a revolver? Is it a semi-auto pistol, like most pistols are? And whatever she says, to say, wait, isn't that the gun you're trying to ban? And why do you get to dictate how people defend themselves and their family? Good questions, which I doubt she'll be able to answer. And yeah, I guarantee that I would be willing to bet a disproportionate amount of my income that she just made up that she does not actually own a gun. Her bodyguards might. But yeah, in terms of her, I don't think she's ever been to a firearms range. though she is quite proficient at she's been quite proficient at capturing biological hazards. Not very good at dodging. I don't know how good she'd be good at range. But let me know in the comments. Do you think there'll be anyone calling for more fact checking? Will there even be a second debate? And then, do you think these types of juxtaposition of videos will help people in the middle, or help libertarians, help all other people see just how hypocritical she is, and how, I mean, just seeing the track record and how she flip-flopped, how I'm not sure how many people can believe her stances. And her whole life she's been anti-gun, and only now during this debate she goes, "Oh yeah, I own a gun. We're totally not going to confiscate your guns." I mean, I don't know how many people will really believe her, but let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Tim Walz calling Kamala Harris's early career as a, quote, young prostitutor, unquote, which perhaps is just a Freudian slip in terms of how she got to where she is today with, sleeping with a man, which the age difference, that's a debate in and of itself. She was, 20 years older, which, But, I mean, the big red flag was, well, yeah, he was also married and political influence, and that's how she was able to advance her political career. I think nowadays, that's much more the controversy versus the age difference, which in the United States is still a stigma for some, but I think that stigma has been decreasing throughout our lifetime. So again, let me know if you think differently in the comments. Now, this is actually retweeted by Donald Trump Jr., originally tweeted by Johnny MAGA, saying, quote, "No way, Tim Walz just said Kamala started her career as a young prostitutor." And Donald Trump Jr. said, quote, "Tim Walz is having a rough one tonight," unquote. And ironically, the little placard below him on the podium says, well, Grand Rapids, Michigan, it's got the location, but the tagline is "A New Way Forward," which they've been in power for 3.5 years. In fact, they've been in power for the last 12 of the last 16 years has also been, in terms of political power of the White House, has been Democrat-led. It says "A New Way Forward," heaven forbid, how much worse can it get? Now, Tim Walz, in terms of his life, or in terms of this, he did one good thing right in this little clip. He at least had the decency to put on a suit. So I'll give him a modicum of credit. Not great, but it's only about 11 seconds long, so we'll go ahead and see what he has to say.
Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prostitutor. Kamala Harris talked about going in that courtroom for the first time. Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prostitutor.
People say my speaking skills are bad. Well, okay, let's be honest. They are pretty bad. But if you click that subscribe button, it may very well help with my speaking to Neptunes. When I first started the show, believe it or not, I could barely speak at all. Spoke even faster than I do today, mostly monotone, and stumble over my words, perhaps more awkwardly than Joe Biden trying to stumble upstairs. However, as I slowly but surely gain more subscribers, I'm increasing my speaking capabilities. Some might argue it's just a modicum improvement, barely anything at all. However, I do think it is a quantifiable result. So if you can click that button, I'd really appreciate it, and it will help improve my speaking proficiencies to the point where I finally make it through an entire episode without a single speaking blunder. A tall order, some might say, but one can only hope. So again, if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, this went pretty darn well. I got 3.8 million views and 88,000 likes, which is another friendly reminder to click that subscribe and specifically that like button. Now, with some of the top comments coming from the good old, what is this? Planet of Meme says, "There's no lie here," getting 103 likes. Now, we do have a contrarian right off the bat. Someone I follow by the name of Keith Aloha, who suspiciously enough has 4 palm tree emojis in his name, almost as if he's too confident. Is he really a Hawaiian? What is he? Well, if you look at his profile, he's mostly a leftist, but echo chambers can get a little bit boring, so I try to follow as many people as possible with different perspectives. He says, quote, "You mean Daddy is? He got spanking and running scared straight?" There's a picture of Trump and Kamala shaking hands. It says, "Woman kills baby live on stage 78 years after birth." So of course, this leftist completely ignores the substance of this post or this tweet and just has that picture. But that being said, they did get 96 likes. Well, the other top comments comes from, what's this? Keith Aloha again just has a picture or a gif of Taylor Swift raising a glass, which, I mean, false advertising. Taylor Swift has never sold a Swiffer product in her life. I don't even know if she doesn't know how to clean. I'm not saying that's why she's never been in a successful relationship, statistically speaking. Or is it? Coincidence? I think perhaps. But in all seriousness, that did get 46 likes. You have Megan Nancy saying Kamala started her career as a prostitutor. What is this? This is a clip from Endwokeness saying, quote, "Holy crap, this is an unearthed ABC profile of San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown in 1995. See here. It's only 28 seconds long. Let's see what they have to say.
He's a rogue, all right, notorious for his flamboyant lifestyle. Flashy clothes, fancy parties, fine women.
Are you his daughter? No, I'm not.
And
so literally Kamala's standing right next to him, and they go, "Is that your daughter?"
Fine women.
Are you his daughter? No, I'm not.
I'm sorry, that should be fact-checked false as well. Can you put that red flag out there? Because again, the ABC person said that fine women, and then is in fact a picture or a video with Kamala Harris. So it's a fact-check false. So just want to put that out there for transparency.
And fast cars.
At least he had good taste in cars. Looks like he had a Porsche 911.
Cars.
You should from now on address me as the mayor.
If ever a man
He's standing right next to him there.
and a municipality were made for
Standing, rare.
each other, it is this man, this place. He's
And he was married at the time as well. And insult to injury, they got 351 likes. Jeannie says, I found the photo, and it's Kamala as well as Mr. Brown. At least he is tuxedoed up. So level up above suiting up. Says Kamala just starting out as a human prostitutor, getting 425 likes. Let's see here. More pictures of her celebrities. Ooh. Picture of her from the 80s or 90s in some type of bastardized dress with leggings. Granted, in her, to give a little defense, it was the dark age of fashion in the 80s, let's be honest. But, didn't want to see that. Scrolling down more and more. Let's see here. Tino says, you can see right when Walz said it, that OF moment, he pauses right after he said it. Yeah, I got 509 likes, and can't give too much critique to him, because Lord knows I have more speaking aptitudes than many. So, I like to think I'm getting slowly but surely better. And yeah, he looks pretty embarrassed. See here. John's meme says a prostitutor at McDonald's. As her dressed up, well, I was going to say dressed up as a prostitute. She actually is just wearing the same outfit as before, but it's photoshopped into a McDonald's picture. Yeah, got 420 likes, and another weird thing to lie about, she says she worked at McDonald's. Which, most politicians have never worked anywhere, to be honest. But it is weird that she keeps lying about things like that to appear more human and relatable. See here. Liv says sometimes liars tell the truth. She is a prostitute, getting 297 likes. See any contrary? I'm not seeing too many contrarian statements anymore. Chaz Davis says fact check true, getting 267 likes. See here. David Noon's cow says your dad said Tim's the VP, getting 184 likes. Someone did an AI video of Kamala speaking, the nose just gets bigger and bigger, like Pinocchio. Easy says, we already know Tim, as Kamala Harris says, sleeping your way into politics. Forwarded by Jim Willie Brown, getting 42 likes. A couple more pictures of her in those old dresses, calling her prostitutor. And not too many people sticking out for her. Granted, I mean, one more. Oracle of the Matrix says, Freud was right. The GIF of Freud says, tell me more, getting 30 likes. Here. Yeah, a little bit of Freudian slip by, oh, wait a minute here. Oh, really? Okay, so it looks like these photos are fake. So it says, readers, as context, these photos are fake. They're not real photos of Kamala. Oh. Alright, so they're fake. They got me again. Good thing about Extra is they got those community notes. So that did get 45 likes. So, yeah. A prostitutor. Which, we'll see how much this really may. I mean, there was a time, now coincidentally he was against the Iraq War, but there's that one politician who was running for presidency, and as soon as he made that one comment, he was going to say he's going to go conquer all these states, and he had the be all moment, which went viral so much that Dave Chappelle made a famous sketch about it. But I don't think the speaking faux pas will have not even 1% difference in the polls. It is funny, don't get me wrong. Maybe it'll affect a couple people, maybe 10 to 20 people will be kind of swayed not to vote for him or her because of this. It's funny, it's interesting, it's funny, interesting political news, but I mean, I don't think this will actually have a huge impact on the polls, but let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Walmart Macaroni salad being recalled well, not so much good for Walmart, as well as a couple weeks ago they also had their apple juice recalled because of contamination, and specifically the Great Value Walmart apple juice product, which again is just an OEM relationship. They just white label someone else's product and sell it for a discount compared to the larger labels. This comes to us thanks to Newsweek, which they say, quote, Walmart's macaroni salad being recalled as the FDA sets a risk level. And they say, quote, Walmart macaroni salad being recalled over the summer now has been issued a risk classification by the U.S. FDA. Resner's Fine Foods, based in Kansas, issued a recall in August for Walmart's freshness guaranteed original macaroni salad because of foreign material and product, according to FDA. The recall initiated on August 2nd impacted 1,782 tubs of the product distributed in, oh, they got us here too, Arkansas, Illinois, or Illinois if you live there, Kansas, Missouri, North Carolina, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Texas. The affected cases have use by dates of September 18th, are identified by USPSU codes 78742, 12653, and 78742, 02670. They were the two sizes that were affected were 16 ounce and 48 ounces. There you can see some of it, which again to me looks viscerally disgusting. Though I'm sure some people enjoy it, of course. They say that, quote, a Class 2 recall is, quote, a situation in which the use or exposure to a violative product may cause temporary or medical irreversible adverse health consequences, or where the probability of serious adverse health consequences is remote. There are 3 levels of classifications. They're saying, obviously, do not eat it. Looks like there's a harmful bacteria that has some allergens. So, not too good news for Walmart, especially after they just had another recall, which again just erodes consumer confidence. And again, I'm not sure that I really doubt anyone's actually going to go to the store and try to actually get their money back for this, because realistically, depending on how much you make per hour, not really worth most people's time. So most people are just going to be disgruntled and throw it away and not bother with it and just buy a different brand in the future. But yep, again, having another quality assurance issue, especially the food, which of all the products people are most sensitive to in terms of recall brand reputation. Gotta say, Walmart, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, thereby letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.